Hi, my name is Dawn Wages, and I am the Python community advocate here at Microsoft. I've been a Python engineer for a number of years and a Django engineer for as long as I've been coding in Python. And we're going to be jumping in today building a CRUD application. That's create, read, update, delete. These are common actions in many applications, and we'll be using Django. Django is the Python web framework. And we'll be using Django's class-based views. They are leveraging the inheritance on Python classes to build views with common patterns in Django, as opposed to the generic function-based views that you can also use in Django. We'll be supercharging our experience with that, so we'll be moving real fast with leveraging common patterns. We'll also be using my years of experience along with GitHub Copilot to write some of our code for us. Then we'll see how it goes. I have no idea what GitHub Copilot is going to give us, but I know we'll get into some debugging. We'll get into some features in VS Code to help us code faster as well. And we're going to have a lot of fun today. So at the end of this, we'll have a working application for our recipes. And we'll be using create, read, update, and delete. And we'll be doing it so the end user can use it, because Django is a batteries included web framework. It also has an admin panel, so you can do create, read, update, and delete from the admin. But our views are going to leverage the MVT architecture, that's models view template, which we'll be going over in order to have the user be able to perform those actions. So let's jump in. We'll learn as we code, and this is going to be fun. Okay, so I'm starting with a brand new VS Code window. I do have a directory open, VS Code Day 2024 for the occasion. And I do have a profile created called VS Code Day 2024. I have a lot of profiles from a lot of different things that I do, but let's check out what's in this profile, because I added just a little bit more than what comes from the default profile when you just create a Python profile. So let's show this particular profile contents. And I have the settings. So the most important things, I think, are the settings and the extension in this particular one. So I have, in addition to the default settings, let's close my files for a minute so we can see a little better. So I have all of the default settings down here. These are all of the ones that come out of the box when I create a default Python profile. I like to switch up my terminal. So I have a bunch of settings for my WSL, my git bash, my command prompt, or my PowerShell. Depending on my project, I just pick a different flavor. I'm a little chaotic like that. I don't know. It's great. So, but I have all of those settings here in my settings.json. I also have a few settings for efficiency. I have a few settings for my UI, specifically just my material icon theme and my zoom level, so you all can see me today. And then I have a format on type. And so those are some cool ones that are helpful when I like to program quickly. And I have them all under my user settings. I will be adding some settings under my VS Code workspace settings today, and those will be contained inside of my project and will be committed with this code. All right, so let's jump in. So I'm opening up my terminal with control backtick, and I will be engaging with a bunch of extensions today, also shown in my VS Code profile. And because we're going to be using Copilot today, I have Copilot, but I also love code spaces, and I have Copilot chat, which is my favorite way to interact with Copilot. Let's start a virtual environment. We're starting a Python project. We want to have a virtual environment. So I'll use Control P to open up my command prompt, and I'll use a caret to get through, go from the file search to command prompt. And then I did it recently. Let's create an environment. I'm doing a web dev project. Let's use Vim. Conda's great. I usually use Conda for my machine learning demos. And let's also use 3.12, the latest and greatest of Python. I was creating our environment. Let's ask Copilot some things. So we're getting into Django today. Let's ask, what's What's so good about Django? All right. So Django is a high-level Python web framework and enables rapid development and clean, pragmatic design. We can leave that up to you. And at the end of this demo, you can tell me whether or not you think it's clean, pragmatic design. But my favorite things is that it is batteries included. That means it'll have things like an admin out of the box. So if you use \admin and you create your super user with one line in the command line, then you are able to log in and see some of the data that you've input into your system, and a UI that just is like, I don't have to do any UI templating to use the admin out of the box. You just have one line in the console and then one line in your admin PY. And there you go. You get to see some of those models. So I love that out of the box. Oh, the ORM. Talk a little bit about the MTV structure, but that is your models template view. And for those who are familiar with the MVC structure, it is very similar. And we'll talk more about that as well. But the ORM in the models is what ingests your data from your front-end templates forms, or however you like to get it into your database. And it'll take the models and it'll translate the data, and then it will put it in the correct tables and the correct relationship between tables as you've specified with your code programmatically. So I get to write in Python and then have my data end up like I want to in my database without having to write any SQL or have any things like that. And that's out of the box. I don't have to do anything with the Django ORM. It just works. I mentioned the admin interface, security best practices, scalability, and then we have that MVT architecture as well. Ooh. And I also love that number 7 is the community and documentation, because those are my favorite parts of Django as well. One of the cool things about Copilot, it is also built off of like data that is available. So because Django has such great documentation, that means Copilot really can give me some supercharged answers on how to program in Django, because it's right there in the docs. So I get to have a conversation with this chatbot, and then I get the answers so I don't have to scroll through the Django docs. Those are great too, and you should send some money to the Django Software Foundation because they have excellent docs, and Copilot wouldn't be great without them. Okay, so we have created our virtual environment. We'll be using Python 3.12. Perfect. I have my new profile. And we are going to jump into creating this CRUD application. So I'll first start with pip install Django. Perfect. And Django's installing. What is a CRUD application? Update and delete. These are the standard system. An example that they give is like a social media platform. I really love that they give examples on what CRUD can look like. So we'll be having a user interface that's for the end users, not just the admin, to be able to create, read, update, and delete. Perfect timing. So let's start our application. So we have Django installed. So we'll start with Django admin, and then we'll start project. That's the word we need. And let's name our project CRUD app. Oh, that's left over from one of my old projects. Let's set this Django settings module goals. I have it set to the wrong thing from one of my other projects. All right, let's do that again. And we'll do recipe app. All right, so now that we've started our project, let's look what Django created for us. So we have a recipe app in here. There's also a subdirectory that has that same name. It's a common convention in Django, and it's done on purpose. And these are all of the settings inside of our Django project. And we also have manage.py, which is our management file, which is the entry point to our project. Perfect. And now that we've done that, we can do Python manage.py migrate, because out of the box, there are some apps and modules that Django's created. And so we will now be setting up our database with no other edits from us. Oh, let's go into our app. CD recipe app, and then run migrate. Perfect. Once we've done that, I can run the server from the command line, but I also like to do it from our debug menu. Oh, also a note that we're using SQLite as our persistent data store. So that is just a file store, and you can see it within your file system. And if you want to just like throw away the database, it's a database. If you want to throw away the database, then you can just delete it and run manage.py migrate again, and it will create that database over from scratch. So I'll close this since we're not looking at it anymore. So we have room, and I'm going to run my application through the debugger. And instead of doing run and debug here, I'm going to create a launch.json file so I can have custom Django settings. So I'm going to go through Python debugger, and then I'm going to go to Django, launch and debug Django web application. And then it also checks to see if there's any launch files in my project. It sees manage.py. All set up. But I also like to make an additional change. When I start my project and I run it, I want it to auto start browser. So I'm going to set this to true. All saved. I can close this bad boy, and I can check, and then let's run. Perfect. Let's also make sure I set my set Django settings module. That was wonky from my last project. There we go. Anyway, and let's run this again. Perfect. And it automatically opened. Successfully run my Django server. And now I have a Django project running, and that's awesome. I love that. Now let's start an app. Go back to my command line, and we'll do Python manage.py, start app, and we'll name it recipes. And more files were created for us. In the MVC, we have a recipes directory. We have where our migrations will go. And then now you can see the models and our views, and then we'll create templates so we can finish out that MVT architecture. All right. Move that back over to the side, and we'll go to our models. Let's go to our models. And so we can zoom through this. Let's see what Copilot can do for us. So sometimes let's do Control-I to ask Copilot to generate code for us. And we'll say, please, because you always have to ask the AI models nicely, create a recipes models using models.model. That includes name, description, instructions and image. All right, let's see if this works. Make this smaller and close this out the way. All right, name, description, instructions, image. I'm a fan of that. Let's see, is there anything else that we're missing? Yeah, I think that's it. Let's actually also include created add equals models that is true. Love that. And let's do, also updated that. Let's do that one as well. Perfect. Oh, I definitely want to include, we're zooming through. So we have that. Oh, we also want to make sure that it shows up in our admin. So let's go to our admin settings and let's ask Copilot to please add recipes to our, let's register. Please register recipes to our admin. Let's see what it shows. Perfect. I love that. Accept. Perfect. Zooming through. All right, what's next? So we have our M. Let's do our V in VT. So let's start with our views. Okay, so we're going to need create, read, update, and delete. We'll probably also want a list in detail view too. So let's do, I wonder if we could do it all in one go. All right, so Control I for Copilot, and we'll say, please create views for me using detail. Oh, please create recipe views for me using detail view. Let's do list view, create view, update view, delete view, create, delete, update, list, detail. Let's see. What else do we want? I think that's it. For the model recipe in models.py. Let's see if that does. Ooh, okay. This is going good. All right, so we got recipe detail view. And that seems pretty good. Then we have recipe list view. I'm a fan of that. Recipe create. Cool. Recipe update. Perfect. Success URL. You delete. Yeah, let's go. Let's go there. Perfect. Now let's also put all of these under recipes templates, because that's usually how I name my templates. Recipes. Perfect. I love that. Let's accept all these changes. That's really fast. Okay. Duplicate here. I'm a fan. Let's go. We do want a home view. So let's add a new view in our base app. And we'll do views.py. And let's ask Copilot to do us, please create a home view using views class and include context for recipes, recipe count, and all recipe objects from the recipe model in models.py. I wonder what that's going to give me. Hello, that's good. I like that. view render get all count context. Perfect. I love it. This is so fast. All right. We're zooming through. I love this. Okay. Save that. So we have our models, we have our views. Ooh, we need our URLs. Okay. So let's ask Copilot to help us with our URLs. So we'll need one for our create, delete, update, list, and detail. So Control I. Please help me create URL patterns. Ooh, let's just do URL paths for create for all the views in the recipe app views.py using, I want to use Django.as view method. I usually like to have it displayed like that. That seems sufficient. Let's see what that does. Ooh, this looks pretty good. Okay. So, it also does home. Okay. Usually I have home in a different one. So I'm going to move that over. But we do have, and I don't want to have duplicates for recipes. We just want, that's going to be on list view. Okay, that's perfect. Yes. So I'm going to move that over. We don't need these recipes part because that's going to be in. Okay. Yeah, this is right. So we're going to move all of these over to our other URLs. And this is perfect for now. This is actually what I get asked it. So we're going to make a new file called urls.py here. And we're going to go here. We're going to accept this. We're going to copy this all over. We have duplicates of path. We don't need that. Other URLs, paste. It did what I asked. Okay. I can't be mad. So this is in my recipes app, which is what I want. And this will be all of my recipes here. Boop, boop, boop. We don't want admin or home here. And then duplicates on admin too. Let's fix that. We don't need admin actually at all on this one. Let's fix that. That's perfect. Then we go back here and we'll delete these. And then we'll say, I'm going to ask, it does it for me. Path recipes, include recipe URLs. That's exactly what I want. And I'm missing include. So let's add include up here. Perfect. And I need Copilot to do one more thing for me. Control I. Let's ask Copilot, can it please add to URL patterns for supporting images. Okay. Let's do this. Please include or add to URL patterns support for static media. That's better. Static media. Let's see what this suggests. I always forget the syntax. Okay. So add static here. URL patterns, blah, blah, blah. I love that. I also love to usually have if setting.debug. So let's do that and then tab that in. Perfect. I love that. We're like zooming. Almost done. Okay, so we have the URLs, we have the patterns, we have a duplicate admin, but it's looking really good. Let's see what errors we get in the, actually, let's go to our debugger and see if this is stopped. Okay, so we were adding a whole bunch of changes. I'm not surprised it started and stopped. Let's rerun her to see where the errors show up. No models named recipe.app in my recipe app views. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so, oh, right. So we want this to be in recipes. Easy enough. Recipes, models, recipe doesn't declare explicit app label. I don't know why I always forget this. Let's make sure we should have done this at the very beginning. Thank you for sharing with me. We got to add recipes to our installed apps. So there you go. And it also does it for me. Recipe apps.recipe config. Okay. And that recipe configs or app config regard of whatever. Actually, let's make sure that's a recipe config. Is that recipe config? Oh, it is. Okay, cool. Okay. That is a new pattern that didn't exist when I first started using Django. So I forget. There you go. All right. So let's run her again and see. Ooh, and we forgot pillow. We're adding images to our project. So we're going to add pillow. So let's go pip install pillow. Let's move this baby to the side. Cool. All right. Let's go back to our debugger. Is she happy with us? Yay. Okay. Now we're expecting an error, but we want the right error. Recipes recipe. No such table. Ooh, that's because we forgot to run our migrations. Perfect. So we created that model, and we need to do Python manage.py make migrations. At first time, we only ran migrations because Django does it for you. They have all of the make migrations, the migration files for you. But now we're making our own since we're adding net new models. We created the model recipe, and that's a good gut check in our command line that we did the right thing. And now we run manage.py migrate. Perfect. Okay. Yay. So this is the right error. We have not built any of the templates for our project, and we're like so close. We're almost there. Okay. So let's create templates for our project. And I love that Copilot's going to help me do this very quickly because I am not a fun and girly. Okay. Let's go to our recipes app and create a new folder called templates. And inside we'll have a new folder called recipes. And then in the recipe app, we'll have a new folder called templates. And then we'll have a subfolder called recipe app. Yeah, we'll call it twice. Okay. That's the usual convention, and I'll show you why in just a moment. So let's start with our base. New file. Let's do it in recipe app. We do it in recipe app, new file, and we'll call it base.html. And then we'll have another one called home.html. And we'll go to base and I'll say, hey, Copilot, please create a base template file for a Django application using Bootstrap CDN. I do not like the style if I don't have to. Ooh, this looks good. Okay. So it's giving recipe app. It named my app for me. It's using Bootstrap. Oh gosh, it's giving me a nav bar and everything. Love it. Okay, let's accept this one. Accept. Okay, so let's ask Copilot, please, because you got to be nice, extend the base.html template and create a homepage for my recipes app with links to recipe list and create new recipe. Let's see what that's going to do. Oh, okay. Let's check to see if this is the URL name. They got it right. Recipe underscore create recipe underscore list. Let's go back to our home template. I don't know if that's going to work. I think it needs to be underscore. Yeah, recipe underscore list and recipe underscore create, I think is the right answer. Yeah. Oh, wait, we got to do create. I think that's the right answer. All right, let's accept it. And we'll know when we have an error. All right, let's see what this homepage is doing. We got to go to our views because it can't find it. We want it to be recipe app home.html. Template does not exist. Why is that? Recipe app home.html. Recipes, templates, recipe app, recipes, templates. That's what it wants. Okay, so we're going to move this file down to the same templates. And that's okay. Because I did it myself and I should have asked Copilot to do it for me. All right, let's refresh this baby. And then it said recipe app, recipes, templates, recipe app, home. Well, where are you looking? And then where is it? It's recipe app. That's the vibe. Recipes. Template. Plural. Yep. Recipe app. Home.html. I don't know. That should work. Recipe app home.html. That should work. Funny enough, that should work. So, I don't know, extra refresh. Yeah. Base.html. Yeah, that's why. So extends. Wonder if that works. Yeah. And we did it. I love that. That was so fast. Okay. Almost there. Last stretch. We're going to add the recipes template. So we'll add some templates here. So we'll have a new file called create recipe.html. Let's make sure we're matching our views. Recipe underscore. Okay. Rename. Recipe create. New file. Recipe list. .html, recipe detail.html, recipe delete.html, list detail, delete create, recipe update. Let's check my views. Detail, list, create, update, delete. Detail, list, update, create, delete. Perfect. Okay. And now we're going to have them, let's start with list. Let's do Control I. Please create a recipe list page that extends recipe app base.html. Yeah. All right, it's extending base as a list just for recipe name. Okay, let's do another one that extends and includes recipe name, description, and image. Image and a link to detail page. Let's do that. we're gonna have to redo this. All right. Control I. Please create recipe list page from recipe list view that extends a recipe app base.html and lists and includes fields name, description, image, and link to recipe detail. All right. Okay. Recipe detail. Okay. And it has a no recipes found too. All right. I like that. And let's see what this recipe list does. Cool. And we don't have any recipes. Perfect. Now let's add some recipes. Recipe create. Control I. Please create a recipe create page using Django forms to include an image upload based on the recipe create view. I think that's it. Cool. Ink type. I always forget that part. Create. All right. I think that'll work. Let's go back. Create new recipe. Recipe app base / base. Do it again. Perfect. I love it. New recipe. Actually, I got a recipe saved over to the side. Let's use my new recipe over here. Yes, my favorite. I make some good fish tacos, friend. All right. Instructions go here. And my description. No. Let's get instructions. And then we'll do fried fish taco served to guests. I love it. And Dawn's famous fish tacos. And I'll upload an image. All right. Okay. Oh, this is a redirect on my view. On my create. Okay. I want to redirect to, right. So I'm going to include a success URL. So we'll have success URL, and we'll just go, home. And we'll add that same success URL for create. And we already have that one. Actually, create and delete and create. And you don't need a success URL for list view or detail view. Perfect. All right. Let's try this baby again. Let's go to my recipe app. Let's even see if it's in there. I wonder if it even saved. Recipe list. All right. Let's create a recipe. Use my famous fish tacos. There we go. Dawn's famous fish tacos. And we'll say, and we'll create the instructions. All right. And we'll choose a picture. And create. All right. I don't know why that didn't work. Oh. See what the debugger says. Set it created. We're deleting our recipe. And it goes back. Perfect. And we have one more file. We're going to update our recipe. Control I. please create a file to a page that extends from recipe app.base.html that will update the recipe with already populated recipe content. I think that'll work. I think this works. All right. We also don't have a link on the recipe detail to update. So please create a link to update recipe detail. Let's see if this works. It worked. I think that's perfect. Let's try it out. All right. Update recipe. Ha-ha! And let's choose another image, see how that works. I know what we're missing. Because on this other uploading a image file. So let's try this puppy again. Perfect. Let's open this image in a new tab. Because while you're at it, you should also catch me on the Python VS Code release videos. I've been putting them out every month. I work in tangent with the awesome engineers who work on the Python experience for VS Code. And I hope you check them out. I hope you like them. Like, comment, subscribe. All right, we got through all of that and we did it with GitHub Copilot in VS Code. That was a lot of Django and it was all very, very fast. So if you'd like to learn more about Python web apps, we have a full day event in June for you. It's being run by my colleague, Pamela Fox. I'll be coming by to say hi. My colleague, Renee Noble, will also be coming by to say hi. It'll be talking about Flask and Django and Azure and VS Code and all sorts of things Python web in June. So make sure you check out the link to register. And if you want to know more about what Python things are happening at Microsoft, visit aka.ms/Python.